Hey everybody, it's Mr. Vance, and today I want to show you how to draw Squidward's house. So let me go ahead and show you some of these examples that it took me to do. I had to draw this quite a bit of times to make this look right. So as the class we already discussed that there's triangles, circles, rectangles, half circles, cones, curved lines, dots. Spongebob does have organic shapes in the background. And here, one of the water heaters. I'll draw that in another video for you guys if everybody wants to. And then here was my first practice. So with that, let's get started. The first thing that I see on my how-to guide is this triangle shape. It almost looks like a key, like a keyhole, like from you see in the old movies, or if you have your grandma's house, they have those really old doors. Except for a keyhole has that circle at the top. Well, we just want this triangle shape. And I'm going to close it off at the bottom, but I don't want to close it off at the top yet because I have to adjust a little bit. And as I drew my examples, I noticed I always drew the nose a little too small. So if you see in examples, um, the third and fourth and fifth the third and fourth examples and fifth, that the nose, I had made it a little bit taller than the first two examples. So not too much. And now I want to draw a line right next to it. I've been telling you about parallel lines, but if you don't know what they are, they're two lines that go next to each other and they never touch. So they will like be a train tracks. But if you look at this, it's the letter L. Now we're going to shade that in step 2. But it's just, I just noticed it's just the letter L and it becomes the shape of the letter L. Now I have to draw 2 circles for the eyes. I don't want you to draw them too high. I want you to draw them just as they line up with the top of the nose. So I want to draw the big circle. And now I want to draw a smaller circle inside of that. On the other side, I want you to do the same. A bigger circle and a smaller circle. You might need to have to draw this a few times. My big circle is a little, it's not so much a perfect circle, but the ones inside are a little bit easier to do. So just remember that. Now I do want to close off the top, the top of this triangle. I just want to, it doesn't have a point. It just has a flat top. And we have to go ahead and color everything in this letter L. It makes it look like a shadow. Now you can color that last. I just color it sooner than later to show you as an example of how it's going to look. If you want to keep your paper nice and neat and only your outlines until the final step, and then you do all the shading and the coloring, that's okay. I just, like I said, these are the steps that are make it easier for a video to teach, not necessarily every step that you have to do. Um, so what's step 3? Step 3 is we got to draw this. It's almost like a flat line at the top, but it has these rounded ends. Just down a little bit. Maybe I think I drew mine a little too big. But what's the next step, Mr. Vance? The next step is to draw a bigger cone shape. And we're following the lines. We're kind of following the lines of the nose. You guessed it. What's at the bottom? A curved line, and the curved line has to go down so that it starts to make it look like um it's coming towards you. It's basically that same line you've always been drawing all those years as a smiley face. That's the trick right there. The next shape on this step 3, we have to draw a couple of rectangles for his ears. They're kind of long. And I'll do a trick later on to make it look 3D. And try to line it up on this side over here. Imaginary drawing your pencil across the page. And the same, just to line them up. All right, that's step 3. That's a lot of parts to step 3. It might be 10. It might be 10 steps. I'm just saying it's step 3 because it's easier for me that way. Um, Now what's step 4? We're gonna draw the door and his top of his head. And then step 5, we're gonna draw a little bit of the steps in front of his house and give it some dots. It's so the next parts of this is not that it's not that much left. So you draw an upside down letter U, a small circle for the door handle, and now lightly you want to draw some lines, but you don't want them to be 100% straight lines. Make them a little wiggly and make them so they don't all connect. That's what makes it look like a wooden door. And I didn't even draw any lines next to my door handle just to be safe. I want people to know it's a door handle. Uh, let's go back to the rectangles up here. Now you can draw a little bit of a line to make a square right here and color that in like we did the nose. Now that makes it look just a little bit more 3D. I noticed that there are some dots in his windows. So I'm just going to take a second to draw those. I got to draw the top of his head, and I could go ahead and draw some dots to make it look like stone. I'll be done with this. So the next step is to draw his hat. Pretty much a square, but it does go round at the top like the bottom goes round. So it goes round upwards on the paper, whereas the bottom of the house goes round downwards. Almost looks like a rectangle or like a cake that fluffed up in the middle. And I'm going to go over my lines at the end to show you how to cover up some of my mistakes. So let me just do one doorstep. I don't really want to overdo this. And if you noticed, um, SpongeBob has all that extra plants around his house, all the living life, and Squidward don't have anything on his house. So, uh, what's the last step? I gotta add a little bit of dots. I don't want to make dark dots. I want to make tiny little random dots. This is called texture. We just want to give Squidward's house a little texture. And you can make a little bit of wiggly lines, but just make sure you're making a lot more dots than wiggly lines. And it might take a minute. It really might take 5 minutes. If your hands are hurting because you're not used to drawing all the time, it might take 10 minutes. I mean, I'm just showing you really fast so that for the video. But what I want you to do is take your time and make this thing look really awesome and beautiful. So as I keep making these dots, it does to me start looking like texture. And they don't have to be perfect dots. The more random, the better, because what the like stones and rocks, they've been around for millions of years, and so they're gonna have a lot of dinks on them, a lot. So that's the fun part about drawing rocks and stones. All right, there's a last step that is in my on my example that you can't see, and it's just a couple of diagonal lines on the window to make it look shiny. You don't want to overdo these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just makes it look shiny. And you can leave half of one. That's yeah, I think that would be it for my picture right now. Um yeah. Well, you know what I like to do? I do like to go over my outlines really quickly. It shouldn't take more than 30 seconds. And then I'll be done with this video and then everyone can have a nice day. So I do like to go over these outlines right here. And the doorway looked a little bit crooked, but I'm going to try to round it out with this extra outline. Now I don't want to go over every line because some of these small lines give it variety, and like I said, it gives it a little bit of texture. So if I do outlines on every line, it just looks boring sometimes. Forgot to give the texture for the top of the head, which is cool because I didn't want to forget any little parts. Now, if you notice I lost anything, you can go ahead and type in leave me a comment right now. And that will be it for this picture. I hope you got some stuff out of it, noticing that shapes can make buildings. All it you have to do is just look at the picture long enough and figure out, oh, this shape matches with that shape that I already know. And then you just put them together. The hardest part about art is to try to put them together. So, yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. As always, have a good day.